Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Brew Detroit podcast. It's our second episode, and we got some special guests here for our episode today. I have to introduce the sponsor for today, which is Delray Barbecue. Delray Barbecue is our Thursday night residency here at Brew Detroit. Wednesdays, they are at Baffin Brewing Company. Friday, they're at the Poorhouse in Wyandotte.
Y'all have a residency? That sounds super fancy.
It's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah. Like Katy Perry in Vegas, dude.
Like,
yeah, dude.
We'll be sharing some of that food here in just a moment.
Katy Perry isn't Usher in Vegas?
Even better.
They have a new kitchen residency
I'll see
at
myself
Soho,
out.
3 seconds
215 here. West. It's the old green space at 9 in Woodward, serving Tuesday through Sunday, and you can catch them on Facebook and Instagram at Delray Barbecue, and then their website is delraybarbecue.com. They cater, and they are now booking summer private events. So reach out if you are interested in catering your events. That's it for our sponsor. Last time we did this, I decided not to introduce myself.
Do it this time.
My name is Dave Seacott.
Hi,
I
Dave.
am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Brew Detroit. Thank you very much.
You got the first bell of the day and the motherfucker work.
Right. Dusty ass bell.
How long it was going to take.
Co-host / producer, Zach Clark. Say what's up, Zach.
Thank you. Hello.
What's up, Zach?
Hi. Hey,
Zach, all
Yeah,
right.
you got a second
Zach
bell.
got a bell,
I
too.
feel
All
so
right.
good right now.
And then,
All right.
I want to introduce our guests for today. They are the Brewz Brothaz, including Sasha, Brew's sister.
beer
The
girl.
big, that's Sasha the beer girl.
Sasha the
She
beer
just
girl.
lost her earring randomly.
Sasha the beer girl. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, even though I just introduced Sasha. But I want you to tell a
Off
little
to a
bit
great
about
start.
Fuck me, right?
Right. You know what I'm
Sasha's
saying?
got a name.
Sasha, look, that's why.
Y'all on your own.
Hey, she did get a beer named after her. Hey, guy, did you have a beer named after you? Of course not.
I didn't.
Okay,
I do not have
only
a beer.
Sasha
I
the
feel like
beer
that's
girl
not
had
right.
a
You
beer
just
named
gotta,
after
you just
her.
gotta own it.
Hint. I don't have a beer
Hey,
named
he's talking
after
to you
me.
there, Dave.
So drop that in your notes, man. Yeah.
Doesn't have a beer.
Neither have I have a beer.
One beer named after me. Y'all never.
We have none.
It's
Oh, I'm
1:40.
saying it's infinitely more than I have.
Yes.
Harry Weaver, everybody. Harry Weaver, everybody. You may have seen him in all kinds of articles in our
Yeah,
Detroit.
right.
Does this mean I don't get a beer named after me now?
That's what it is. No beer for you.
Is that the trade-off? Is that a big?
Quoted in the Detroit
Like the
Free
soup
Press.
Nazis.
No beer for you.
His name is everywhere. guys.
No beer for you. No beer for you.
Just skip over. Well, I'm Sasha the beer girl.
Yeah,
And
you
now-
didn't let Sasha introduce herself.
And now that's Harry. So,
Not right.
See
Now,
how
You
that
gotta
little
work on
dusty.
that, baby. Come on.
That was
See?
terrible.
you can do
That was.
That's clear.
You got to be careful ringing somebody else's bell, Dave.
you got to get permission for the bell, man.
Anyway, I gave it to him. I handed it to him.
Ooh, giving the
Well,
bell
fair enough.
away.
So anyway,
Not another word for me. I mean, long as everything's on the up
Long
and up.
as she okay with giving the
I'm
bell
Sasha
away.
the beer girl, and now I'm turning it over to Harry because y'all are the worst.
I'm Harry, Brewz Brothaz, co-founder, beer drinker. There's an article or two that I may have done an interview for floating around. I recently did an interview with Eater Detroit.
Did you?
I did, and I managed to get a good fuck founders piece in there.
Hey. Can never have too many fuck founders.
Never. Fuck Charlotte Street. Yeah.
So-
in any brewery over there.
It was until that. I had Harry's coolest interview until that one.
My name is Wayne.
Yes. No.
And
I'm not even going to ring the bell.
see, I don't get a bell. I don't have any articles. I don't have any beers named
You
after
got
me.
redhead jokes left though.
I have one redhead joke left for the day.
Jesus
And
Christ.
in some circles, I'm known as the Brewz father. But I
In
just
many
drink. I drink beer.
Yeah.
You do.
I know
Plenty
beer.
of it.
Can we say happy post Wayne's Day? Can we do that?
It's
It
March
is.
Day, but
It's
It is.
March Day. It is March
it's
Day.
post Wayne's
It's
Day.
post Wayne's Day.
It's also
It's-
Harry's Day. Yeah.
Yeah?
Every day is Harry's Day.
And it's
Okay,
Daniel
okay.
Hahn's
And I'm
birthday.
just here.
And it is Daniel Hahn's birthday.
Oh,
So-
that's true.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That
Happy
was-
birthday,
Happy birthday,
Dan.
Dan.
You appreciate how much better that was.
See how
For
it's
him?
sticking up? See how it's sticking up?
Anyway,
Dave has aroused the bell.
I didn't touch it. I probably did, but I
The
didn't.
mention of Daniel Hahn, the legend of Hahn has brought the bell up.
The force is with you.
anyway,
And if you all don't know the legend of Han, check out Brewz Brothaz. We're around. And,
Get educated.
We've got some stuff on YouTube. We got some podcasts out there. And Daniel Han has a birthday every day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
How old is he?
Shit,
He does
every
every
day.
day. I know. He's old as shit.
He's like Benjamin Buttons, but the other way. You know, he's got to be at least 1.3 million.
I mean,
At least.
Something like that.
So before we jump in anything like subject wise, I gotta say, Brew Detroit is one of my favorite places to go.
Amen.
Man. It's such a cool spot, like the front of the house. But then to be back here where all the magic happens.
It is.
I came back here. I was like, it smells like beer back here. I love this shit.
Hey,
I love being over
Dave,
here, man.
Dave,
It's really a great spot.
let me jump in too.
Yeah.
You better run your show today, or we'll take it over. Because we
It'll
just
be a
running the
Brewz Brothaz
podcast,
show,
man.
man.
It'll be a Brewz
Listen,
Brothaz show in a minute, man.
That's
So,
why.
you know,
I told you before.
You want to mail this one in? I just put your feet up in.
Somebody cut his mic. He doesn't do it anymore.
This says the way the Brew Detroit podcast will go forever.
tell us.
There's a little bit about Brew Detroit.
But talk about your beer drops.
Talk about your
We're going to, Zach. Like there's hey, listen, we're gonna do this thing today because I had a feeling coming into this that we probably weren't gonna stick to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We were 30 minutes late to begin with, so yeah, I mean,
30 minutes late, and then we start drinking and shit. It's downhill. I gotta say though, if Wayne does not have some fancy chocolates today, I'm gonna be pissed off. Because the last time I was here with Wayne,
Y'all
he had the
chocolates?
Philip Ashley joints, and we had them out, and we
Last
were
time we
drinking
were here.
stouts, eating chocolate. So I was kind of.
I was very impressed because I was like, how long those guys stay? I was like, they were here for like 8 or 9 hours.
we did. We put in a work day that day.
Man, we don't take this thing lightly,
You guys
man.
came,
We do not take this lightly.
it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
You guys were here as soon as the party started.
Yeah.
The party we're speaking of is the 140 party.
We're true to our
If
mission.
you're not a member,
Well, I thought we weren't allowed to
you'll
talk
have a
about it.
chance, maybe if all 140 members don't renew. But I'm not going to give you any more information until the time comes. So
It was a hell of a party,
you'll
though,
have to
man.
wait. Thank you.
And like
Yeah,
you
I'm
said,
glad,
we were
man.
there from beginning to end.
And you get
Dave,
the hands
you-
on the releases too.
you
That's
invited
the
us
best
to work.
part.
That's the shit.
You cut the
You
line.
invited
you know?
Brewz Brothers to work that day, and we came to work.
We did. Yeah.
Those
like to put the
releases
work
might be
in.
the best part, but the wings might be the
All right,
wings
yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
cornbread.
That's all.
Hey,
Yo,
that's too much
non-alcohol.
information.
That's all
That's
Kevin.
who you mind.
Yeah.
That's all. Kevin.
That's
Kevin
all.
smoked all the
Yeah,
wings.
Hey, Sasha.
Yeah, I was just making sure that was
Kevin smoked the wings, Sasha.
Sasha,
Yeah.
didn't he smoke the hell out them wings?
He did
He
smoke.
smoked
Oh,
the
yeah.
hell out of it. He did.
He smoked
He
them.
did.
I like a man that can cook.
You like a man that can smoke?
Uh-oh.
Kevin can throw down.
Is that right?
Clearly.
Oh yeah.
Rico, you better get your burn game together, my man.
Uh-oh. And some hair dye.
Hey, shout
Hey,
to
Rick-
Rico.
I know he's a patient, kind man.
I don't
That's
want
my
to. I
husband.
don't want to just call him
By
Sasha.
the way,
Right. I don't want to call him Sasha, the beer girl's husband.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets enough of that. I'm gonna call that man by his name.
so we do. I mean, we do have some stuff that's coming out, right? But like
What's happening? What's coming out?
Cover a few things. So if you were at the 140 party, you guys were able to taste Pander Cup, which
Yep.
is a session IPA,
Yep.
which is the follow-up baby version of Pander Bear,
Yeah.
which is our double West Coast style IPA. That is actually coming out.
Don't
here
call it a
within-
comeback.
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback.
That's
been here
coming
for
out
years.
here within
Oh,
the
sorry.
next few weeks.
I gotta say, I typically hate session IPAs.
Yeah,
Panda Bear was good.
Pander Cup.
Panda Cub was good.
No,
so
but
we're already confused people, which I like.
Hey, when is
because-
the rice lager
rice
coming
green.
back
Talk
out?
to me
Man,
now.
just talk to me
I'm
about
saying,
that.
you
I
said
need,
Cheech and Chong.
come on now.
You might see
The
the
cleanest
back there
beer.
working and doing stuff. He's still brewing. We're here after hours. He's doing his thing. We have been talking about it. We don't have a set date. It might come back. It might not come back.
it will come back.
We're getting conflicting.
I
don't work here.
I
Thank
mean, come on now.
I don't work here, but
He's keeping it
we're going to
secret.
do 3 more batches of depth this year too. So
In case anyone's wondering.
Hey, hold on. Let me just put it out there in the universe. We're going to have a seasonal death release.
Yeah.
Depth
quarterly
2.5.
depth release.
Depth 3.5.
And then the next thing that's coming up, and we've said it a few times, they were on our first podcast, Loaded Dice, Jeff Smith. And
Idiot.
over there. Slow Play is actually in this tank right here. That should be coming out here in the next few weeks as well. We're going to have a lot of things that are coming out in the next few weeks. Like we're going to hit you with at least 3 new beers, Slow Play, Pander Bear. That'll be a big 100 barrel batch. And then the big one that I'm really excited for is Citrus Blonde is coming back.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, I mean, I know this is your podcast and we're trying not to take it over, but how do you guys make the decision on what beers to put out when? And since we're talking about that, I love this. Tell us about that.
The fun thing about my job is that I get to work with Eric and I get to work with our production managers and say, hey, when can we fit these things in?
Okay.
And then, we have the ability to do sample sizes, right? We have those 4-barrel tanks over there. So the smallest batch we can do is 2 barrels. If we do 2-barrel batch and that thing flies in 2 days, well, okay, let's crank it up.
Kick it up.
Let's kick it up to 4. See
right.
That's exactly what happened with Cloud 19.
Okay.
Cloud 19 was 2019. Jeez, 2019.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
God.
3 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah. So that's what we did. We did in February. It's probably like right around
the way
now,
life used to be.
And we're right here.
And we're right where that
It's a
happened.
sign. Isn't there a sign over there that says it's a sign?
So we went from February 2019 where we were doing these small barrel batches, and we kicked it up to draft only for a while, and we're only doing it at certain places just to test out the market. And then finally we were like, we can't do this anymore because we're doing 10-barrel batches every month. July came around, we were like, let's make the plan and set it up to 100-barrel batch. Now we're doing 200-barrel batches.
And
we have the variant Pineapple Cloud 19.
Which is
That's
delicious.
Rico's favorite.
There's a lot of things that we're able to do because of this system here, and we have the
But okay, bring that back though. I'm sorry, just bring that back in terms of determining when to put out what, because we got to
So it's just has to do with style. What kind of styles do we want to go out? Like winter months, do we want to do like a big stout or a porter, or do we want to do a double West Coast style IPA that's in 9% range and call it Pander Bear? Because people, that was a joke. Like I wasn't even working at a brewery at the time, and I was like, I want to do, and it wasn't a West Coast style at the time, but I was like, I want to do a lactose fruited New England style IPA. And I was just joking and call it Pander Bear.
The Mad Lib of beers.
Right.
I was like, we're going to pander to all these people and do what they want and really just do something. I was like, everybody started to turn back to the clear IPAs and West Coast style. I was like, if we're going to do this, I'm going to come out with a bang, and we're going to do a double, and we're not going to do it. So every 100-barrel batch that we've been doing for IPAs, which used to be quarterly, they've all been clear IPAs because we already have 2 New England IPAs.
Quarterly. Everybody hear that?
So
quarterly.
So Wayne can vouch for this. In a beer group that we're in, when this New England kick started, like when Transient was jumping out with the you could get
stuff,
with this juice and all of that, I was like, mark my words, there's gonna come a time where people are trying to figure out what the clearest beer is and how they can make it, and not the murkiest. Yeah. And look at us now, running around town looking at the best lagers and koshes and all of that, right?
It's got to be that way, though, right? I mean, at a certain point, you can't jam any more shit into a beer.
Right.
We've done the juiciest, the spiciest, the weirdest, the darkest.
So the market is self-correcting.
It has to be that way, right?
Happens.
I mean, and after 5 or 6 years of that,
the
darkest, the juiciest, the haziest,
the heaviest. Yeah.
So it's not. There's not like, to us. It's more along the seasons. Like the seasons start to change a little.
It's always stout season, man.
Like the season starts to change a little bit. What can we work and where? And now that we have the sales data, so I go back to sales data too. I'm a huge
numbers guy, right?
Huge numbers person. Like what's not just what our sales are, but like when we look at all of our social media stuff, like we're always looking at those things. But as far as the beer goes, like we can go back and look at our sales data and say, Cloud 19 is moving like crazy.
Yeah.
Now
2019, crank it up to 100
push
barrels.
It.
Now,
that makes sense.
Now we went to printed cans for Cloud 19.
Okay,
like that's the you see the labels on these cans.
You gonna give them a bell for that?
That goes in. We are in printed cans, and when we're walking out, I'll show you the printed cans.
Nice.
Can't wait to see that.
Bell for that.
Sorry, I was into
Sasha,
it.
So
Sasha, you neglecting your bill.
No, I was listening.
Yumtown also is going to printed cans.
Sasha will enjoy
that.
that. Hey.
So listen, Yumtown and Citrus Blonde, those are my summer, like that's my porch beer.
Citrus Blonde is the lawnmower beer. I know you have. I know you have camping beer, which is golfing beer and all kinds of other fun stuff. But like, I love craft beer, obviously, but I have to have something that's not always going to punch me in the tongue, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And but I don't want it to taste like nothing. And that citrus, just the right amount, super crisp. And I can buy them 15 at a time.
Yes.
So I gotta say, this German Pils is nice.
The Keller Pils?
Yeah.
Keller.
See, listen, you guys are doing exactly what I didn't want to do. You guys
What?
are doing me.
But okay, we'll stop. But Dave, this was all a setup. This was all a setup.
Yeah, I know.
Because the setup question is this, Dave. Are you ready for it? In all that selection process, how do you bring us on as number 2 on the podcast?
How the fuck does that happen?
But it's
Hey,
February.
and question number 2, where the fuck is my pills?
Oh.
This is good. The German is good.
Can I answer that question?
Listen,
No?
I thought we were here in February intentionally.
No. And that was next. That was the next
Are you
follow-up.
giving him his out? Is that what's that?
Hey, Sasha, that's a bad out. Because look, we drink beer all month long, all year long. It's like we got history all year long.
You can't deny how special this group is.
Really allowed in February, Brew Detroit. That what you're saying?
February makes that even more special. That's why I thought we were here.
So we only allowed
What I'm starting to figure out is like a lot of the stuff that I do has a lot of strategy behind it. There's a reason why I try to choose specific things.
So why
right?
wasn't we first? This first things first.
I mean, if you wanted us in February, you could have just done the first fucking episode in February.
We just did a podcast together in October. That's why. I thought it was too soon. We needed at least one more month. Which is so
You didn't think the bell would be ready?
I'm happy.
Not that Dave needs to be
and proud that
defended,
you guys
right?
are
But it worked out because they were right here doing the
Just happened to
collab.
be in the building, huh?
Correct.
Yeah.
I guess
we could have done it.
I can't fight with that. I guess.
Okay.
But I mean, still okay. I'm not. No.
Hey, Harry, but what a nice way of lobbying for
It
us.
was. It was
It's
indeed.
You guys are too kind. Too kind. You're just smiling at me the whole time. Like, don't fuck this up. This is for you. No, it's. I really did want to have you guys on here as an impactful and a message to the industry that, yes, you guys are drinking beer all year long, and we have a relationship and a friendship now that lasts all year long, not just 1 month. But I thought it would be very meaningful and a message to a lot of people in the industry to have you guys on for Black History Month. And,
I appreciate that. And that was actually what I wanted to get into really quickly. I won't do the whole spiel, but I'm sure there's people that are listening or watching.
They better be.
Who are not familiar with the Brewz Brothaz.
Yeah, right. Let's get into that.
So
too, right?
I don't know who in any craft beer corner could not be aware of the Brewz Brothaz, but
maybe one or two.
I'm sure there's one or two out there.
Yeah.
And for that one or two.
But that one,
yourselves out.
for the sake of that one or two. So we started back in 2013. In November of 2013. Pre-boom, right? So, I won't get all off into the circumstances that led up to it, but myself and Bernard Jackson, my co-founder and my brother, we were
Shout out to Bernard.
We were rapping and it was like we were talking about black people and drinking beer, and he and I have been drinking beer together for 15 years at this point, and so we started talking about, hey, you know what? We should put like a face group book together or something. So Bernard is hella proactive. So the next day I get an invite to Brewz Brothaz. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what's happening?
It's already a graphic. It's already all kinds of details.
What is this?
Right, yeah. So it started off as me and like Bernard and maybe like 10 other people talking about our favorite holiday beers. And maybe 1.5 of them were pumpkin beers, Sasha.
Hey.
But
I like pumpkin beers.
Good thing I wasn't involved at the time.
Anyway.
And so shortly after, people like Wayne got in. But the thing is, it grew organically and it grew very quickly. So now we're looking at almost 8 years later. Well, actually 8 years and some change later. And we got 800 and some members, right? Is that where we are?
Yeah. I mean, if we were a public group, we would have a lot more.
Oh yeah, if we were a public group, we have a ton more. But in that time, it's just grown from relationships. Yep. It's grown from good people knowing good people. We don't advertise. We don't solicit membership. It's like I said, it's the definition of organic. We didn't have a fan page until what, last year?
Last year. I mean, what we also recognize is that even on the group itself, our reach is so much more vast in the group, because if we put out, we had to stop publicly announcing where beer was available before we called each other.
Yep.
Because we found out that we would announce it and put it on the page.
And it'd be gone.
It'd be like, I'd be like, hey, Harry, go check out, Holiday has this in now. And, and that might have been when we only had 200 or 300 members. And we get there and be like, actually, like, man, you just missed it. Like, what? I just announced it 15 minutes ago.
Out of there.
What's happening?
I said it. What do you mean I missed it? I said it.
For what it's worth, that was in the Ashley Price holiday days.
That was Ashley Price holiday.
Hey, man, this Del Rey mac and cheese is shit. I gotta say.
Hey, dude.
I was just thinking.
So Kevin's sliding us some Del Rey barbecue right now.
Yeah, it's happening.
I don't know what everybody ordered, but this list.
I don't even care, dude. I'm excited.
Beer,
Whatever it
cheese,
is. I have no idea.
nachos,
Wait, hold on. Let's do it this way. I have no idea what this
barbecue
is.
quesadilla, like all the meats. You want all the meats? You can get all the meats.
I think I got all the meats.
All the meats.
I got the chicken.
Oh, see, Dave, I got yours. Or one of them.
Holy shit, this thing's heavy.
You got a pizza?
What is
No,
happening
you
there?
got the everything, huh?
Ah.
Those pretzels look like lobster tails, man. I got excited for it.
I was going to say shit, dude.
Hey, haven't had Del Rey before. If you haven't had Del Rey, you're missing out on the treat. They're, almost as good as Kevin's wings.
Almost. They got a little work to do.
We know.
Kevin's not even paying attention. Kevin, your wings are getting
Rave reviews, man.
Rave reviews.
So good.
But like Kevin was like, I got these Amish. What were they
The
called?
Amish
Kevin?
legs, right? Drums, yeah.
Irish or Amish drums.
$1,000 a pound.
Yeah. They're,
Even Rick Ross is selling thighs.
Right.
I remember when he told me, he goes, I did not get wings, so I had to get these because
The drums were excellent. They were.
I mean, you don't lose getting a drum.
It's great.
You don't.
Uh-huh.
So I do want to make sure I don't want to get away from the Brewz Brothaz story. So, like I said, fast forward now, and we've got 800 and some odd members. But beyond the membership, we have amassed a voice in the community. And the purpose of our group has always been to highlight the fact that marginalized groups or groups that are not typically thought of as craft beer consumers are indeed craft beer consumers. And it's a lot of us, whether it be women, whether it be black folks, whatever the case might be. Our group obviously is not exclusive to black people and women and whatnot, but it's hard to survive in that group if you're not an ally, because you'll really get your shit pushed in.
Yeah.
If you start.
Yeah.
and it's not by design. It just happens. If you're somewhere where you don't fit, you just don't fit.
We've had maybe 2 occasions throughout our history where there were just 2 obvious people that, came up and
they had to go.
And they had to go. I mean, but when they went, we got more good riddance posts than anything else. And, even
took so
with,
long, right?
with us becoming an ally and, a force in the local industry, had to do with the relationships, and even relationships that we had. We talk about a brewery on Charlotte Street that we don't name, but we tried to even save that brewery before it was national, and their lack of response and their lack of concern is why they end up with where they are. And we just put an F in front of them and keep it moving now. And I think that also helped us when we spoke with other breweries to know our commitment to helping bring diversity and inclusion into the craft beer industry, which sorely needs it. Like other industries as well.
It also brought out some allies. So there's a vocal number of people on some of the larger beer pages, and even some of the bourbon pages. I was on a bourbon group today, a local bourbon group, and somebody posted about the new Bardstown drop that's coming. And apparently it's aged in KBS barrels. And I said, I love Bardstown, but Founders could eat a dick.
Can't buy that one.
Well, and after I said that, several of our white allies came right behind me like, yeah, I'm done fucking with Founders. Yeah, Founders lost me a long time ago. So that shows me that we've made some impact on, on the industry and on the craft beer culture in general.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I know this may be obvious, maybe a dumb question on my end, but what should they have done? I know what they shouldn't have done. We saw everything, and we still see it.
Yeah.
They're still blocking people on Twitter.
Yeah.
But when you guys, because I remember you reached out. Let's have a dialogue.
We had a talk with Harry, myself, and Dave. Sat down and had lunch together.
Yeah.
And talked directly to the owner during the sale about what needed to be done in the community, not just from a show perspective, but in terms of being real and genuine. And he nodded, agreed, and Harry,
and then cut us off.
Yeah.
So that conversation happened shortly before the settlement. So they were supposed to come on Brewz Brothaz, and we were at El Mary's. He invited us to lunch. Wayne and I, we sat down, we kicked it, we at El Mary's, and he's like, I'd like to.
With the invite, I'm sorry, I had to just bring this point up. It was so funny. When the invite came, he was a little worried because he said, hey man, he thinks you guys are going to beat him up if you had lunch. He's worried that, he wants to reach out. He doesn't know what to do. And he just thinks you guys are going to, he was like, look, come on, man.
Yeah.
And we told the people at El Mary's.
You were going to fight him?
They didn't.
I'm sorry. That's a message in itself, man.
I gotta say, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's
And plus, they're old guys. Like, what are they?
No,
doing?
I mean, so
we show up and we have
You should have
lunch,
just been a flinch.
and we agree to have
would
him
have
on the
wetted
show. And I told him, I said, look, man, we're not going to crucify you, but we're not going to throw you snowballs either. Same thing I told Gracie when she was still the DEI person over there, and we had her on. That was shortly after she got hired, and I told her, I said, we're not going to crucify you either, but we're not going to throw you softballs. So
we're looking for the truth.
yeah, we're looking for the truth. That's all. So Dave agrees to come on the show, and I'm like, bet, I'll reach out for some dates and we'll work something out. I text him probably a couple days later, no response. Text him a few days later, no response. The next Founders news I hear is that they settled out of court. So we've not, to this day, I've not heard another word from
No, we have.
Oh, have we?
We have. Now, and I want to go back a little further in the time machine before that meeting, before it went national.
Because I want to have that
national,
conversation too.
Harry and I reached out to Dave
Reached out to the whole squad.
as Mud Club members.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, as Mud. If Christian was here earlier,
Yep.
My little brother, his first experience was at a Founders event in Grand Rapids for KBS Drop.
None of us would be
And we
here
stayed
if Founders
overnight.
didn't exist.
It
Absolutely.
did.
There's all there is to it.
did.
Absolutely.
So when the news first broke, Harry and I reached out in emails as Mud Club members, advocates, and whatever. Say, hey man, you got a problem. We can help you with this problem, but these are some things you're gonna have to address it head on, and you're gonna have to make some amends to the way you do business. But you can get out in front of this, and the black community is a forgiving community, sometimes to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you're genuine in your forgiveness, they will forgive you. But if you're not genuine and you're just doing something to placate
It's going to turn into
they're going
Founders
to call
to eat
your
a dick.
ass out too.
Yeah.
And they going to and it's going to turn into fuck Founders.
Well, genuine comes with the caveat of following through with the things you say you're going to follow.
Being
That's
a good neighbor.
And
If you listen
and that's
to the
the
Brewz
conversation
Brothaz
we had.
If you listen to the Brewz Brothaz podcast, whenever we talk about this founder situation, there's not an expectation that they be superhuman.
No.
All that we're asking is that they be a good neighbor.
You're going to come into our community. You're going to act as you're part of it. And that's all there is to it. There's
That's
nothing
it.
more. There's nothing less.
So a caveat
Welcome
to
to Detroit.
So a
Trick
caveat
said
to the story Wayne just gave you about us reaching out to founders. The part he left out is that I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional and have been for 20 years. So I know what I'm talking about. And I told him, I
You
was
wasn't
like,
just making
look,
shit
man,
up.
I'm not, I'm right. I'm like, dog.
By the way.
Yeah. So I'm telling him, I'm like, look, man, I'm not looking for a check. I'll help you get out of this shit because Founders is or was a staple to me as well. My sister and her family live in Grand Rapids. Anytime I was close to Grand Rapids, Founders was my first stop.
And close mean within 30 miles.
Right, yeah. Right. So if I'm in Lansing, goddamn it, we going to Founders.
Can I see him on a map?
Right.
Yes. All right, I'm in.
But for you to just dismiss what I'm saying, dismiss what we're saying, and we're telling you what's going to happen if you don't handle this. the message you gave us is you don't give a fuck about the demographic that we represent
at all.
Because we both
and this was during the sale.
Yeah.
So you don't care about our money. We care to get this big money.
In no uncertain terms, black people will, in large part, stop drinking your beer.
And they said,
it was like, yeah, so fucking what?
So what? We don't care about that 1, 2, 3%.
Yep.
From you guys. Next.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming out.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's so interesting to me, and you shouldn't judge on appearance, but like the owners show up, granola eating, dreadlock having, fucking
the people you would expect to be allies, right?
Yeah.
Oops.
But there are
Birkenstock wearing.
But you know what? A lot of people that present that way are environmental hippies. They don't give a fuck about marginalized people, but they want to save the planet.
See, but Zach,
so
did you? I'm sorry, just so we on our sidebar when Zach mentioned the Birkenstocks, and I said they are comfortable.
He's right.
I mean, I got locks and I love Birkenstocks, so I'm like,
that's the point we were making with beer. Is that we know our stuff. Mm-hmm. So that consumer, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, or whatever, Birkenstocks are comfortable.
Yeah.
Same with being a craft beer enthusiast. Yes. We were drinking craft beer before there was a thing known as craft beer. Mm-hmm. Before the industry in of itself, it was like, okay, we all tell our stories when we began drinking this craft beer. Well, when I started drinking what's called craft beer, it was no such industry.
It was no such thing, right?
It was Chimay back in 1998. There was no craft beer. When Motor City opened up, there was not a craft beer industry. So we've been drinking craft beers since this thing began, and to now be dismissed, we were like, fuck you and founders.
And that's what, look, there's no secret. This is the blackest city in America.
Motherfucking right it is.
But if this was representative, either he or I would be black.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're not.
Or maybe both.
But at least.
Yeah.
So how do we get there?
At least make an attempt. I mean, and we've seen through some of our friends in the industry, Brew Detroit being one, Batch being another, Eastern Market and Ferndale Project, Dane. And I mean, Dane, when Dane pulled out of the Eastern Market Beer Fest, that was huge. That was making quite a statement. And it was,
loudly too.
I mean,
to pull out of a beer festival that's in your backyard.
You had your name on it.
You're right. You walk your kids over.
The repercussions, the repercussion that came from that. And we were having a podcast the day Dane announced it. We were down at 8 Degrees Plato.
Yep.
Another great spot.
And Dane came down, and we introduced our Buffalo Trace mic check at 8 Degrees Plato that night. And Dane came in and said, hey, man,
that was a good night, too.
That was a good night.
You picked a good bottle.
Night.
Shit.
That's because I was there.
That was a great bottle.
It was because it was the first time we had a black woman on the tasting team.
But it was
when Dane had come in,
just saying.
And you could see the weight on Dane's face when he came into 8 Degrees.
He was in tears, man.
And he had just said, hey, I pulled out. I don't know what it's going to do to my business. And Eastern Market was just starting at the time. And Harry and myself, we went over and had the conversation with he and his staff.
And that's the kind of, that's when it hit me, the kind of impact that we've developed.
Yeah.
Dane had us over. We don't work there. He had us over to talk with him and his staff about what we thought about what he was doing moving forward. That's impact. And that's somebody who cares about.
It was genuine.
The demographic.
That first event that you guys did together when he had you guys over there.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction to who the Brewz Brothaz were.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, start paying attention.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you guys know that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. I'll always say I grew up with one of the most diverse group of friends that I've seen out of anybody ever before.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get any more diverse. In my eyes, like that's, all walks of life.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I want to be introduced to these guys. I honestly don't remember how you and I
have no idea.
Introduced to each other. But
it happened, and here we are.
And I got into the Brewz Brothaz group. And
it's organic.
come out to depth.
I mean,
can we do a show?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck
Yeah, right.
So
It's organic, like
that's what
everything we do.
happened, right?
When things happen organically,
Yeah.
when things happen in a genuine sense, we don't remember. I don't remember the first time we met. I don't remember any of that, but I know
why
the friendship, the friendships that have came from that.
Yeah.
You know, and the genuineness in terms of, you know, Brew Detroit. We've done 3 or 4 podcasts here.
Shit,
I mean,
3, 4, 5.
So I don't, we don't,
At least 3, 4.
But the point of the matter is that's what matters the most. You know when folks are genuine.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you know, it's not about what you say. You know, it's not even how you say it. That feeling that comes across, you know, like when Sasha was having a little problems and we said, "Hey, baby, you need to get some water, baby." You know, when you hear those old sayings,
I didn't hear the bell on that.
Get you some water, baby.
No.
Get some water,
Bill,
baby.
and that's the last joke of the day.
But so Wayne, I want to revisit that night at 8 Degrees Plato because something else important happened that night. It was serendipitous in the way, and I don't know if you remember, but that night Gracie came down and had drinks with us.
She did.
She called. I don't know if she called. She must have shot me a
she
message
did.
on Facebook.
She wanted to come on.
She was like, "Yo, I'm at
I remember.
Detroit.
Yep.
Y'all at 8 Degrees Plato." I was like, "Come on through, have a drink." So she bought a round. We drinking whiskey
Before we went on.
She was like, "Yo, I can't stay. I just wanted to come say what's up. You know, I'm bouncing out." So that was a Wednesday. That Friday was when she published her resignation letter.
Now, and we can say this.
Her
We
go to
couldn't say
hell
it
letter is
then.
really
She told us she was gone.
in so many words. Yeah.
And she was like, y'all can't, you know, don't, y'all, you know, I'm just telling y'all
Said it,
this,
but you
just
didn't say it.
in pride, you know, but
Right.
I mean, she's gone now.
Yeah.
But we had the conversation. We was like, man, she was like, I couldn't believe what was going on there.
Yeah.
And it was just far worse than I envisioned going in, and I'm out, was basically what she told us. But hey, I can't be on your show tonight. Cause we was like, Grace, you gotta come talk. We get,
Right.
you know, we need to talk about
Right.
this shit. She was like, no, I can't, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we never made any mention of it. We might have said she came by and stopped by to see us. But
Right.
I think that might have been all we said on the show.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to get the impression that we're obsessed with this whole Founders Feast.
No, not at all.
But I don't think we can tell the story of the impact that we've garnered without including that.
I can't be you, but wouldn't that be okay?
I would think so.
Some racist ass motherfuckers in your neighborhood and
Say
you're saying
fuck them every single time.
I mean it.
One
though,
more
like,
bell for that. One more bell.
I mean, look, I grew up in northern Macomb County. Coming here to me used to be like a spectacle.
Yeah.
But now that I live much closer and I've been here a lot longer, so I think it's okay to be obsessed with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't apologize for
I
it.
think
I mean-
for me in the whole situation, like it was, God, I was at Arbor Brewing Company at the time, and Tracy reached out to me.
Damn,
at
Arbor Brewing Company?
when I was at Arbor. Yeah, when I was at Arbor.
No.
Tracy
We don't talk about Arbor Brewing Company.
Tracy reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, we're opening the Founders thing. I'd like you to come by for the grand opening." And that was my first introduction to Tracy. So like this whole situation, I was like, "Damn, man! Like I met Tracy. He was cool as hell. Like he was on his shit. Like he was busting his ass to make sure that the grand opening was great, even like for the industry people." So now as a father, like when I look at the industry that I wanted so badly to be a part of, that I started my own business in it, forced myself into it to meet a bunch of people, and Founders was one of the first breweries that I started doing stuff with. Like it was some of the first events that I ever did were KBS events and Royal Oak at Lockhart's Barbecue. And so for me, I look at the whole situation, how I grew up and who my friends are and the people I want to be around. And I kind of look at it as a situation like a dad would and say, well, I can't say I'm not mad because it did piss me off a lot, but it's more along the lines of, I'm fucking disappointed.
Yeah.
Like that's not to like,
Dave, you know how much it hurt to go down and get my mug?
Because they the OGs, man. You know what?
Give me my damn mug. My mug can't be in your
It's not
place
that we
anymore.
didn't like their beer. They
Right.
made some great
They
beers.
did, and it's
You
undeniable.
wanted to like them.
Yeah.
It's undeniable that in some ways, Founders is the OG.
Dave, I
Like,
was
they started
98
the
at the
whole-
Mug Club down
Yeah.
there at Charlotte
And
Street.
that's
Yeah.
insane.
They started the whole
25 years.
barrel aged stout thing, right? KBS was the
Yeah.
shit. People from all over the country were trying to get a hold of KBS. I had to go to 4 different stores to assemble a whole 4-pack. Right? But
I don't miss those days.
I don't miss those days.
No, that was brutal. That's true.
Yeah. So you can't deny their impact on the industry, especially locally. But I mean, that's not the trade-off. That doesn't mean you get to be an asshole.
Nope.
You know, so
never.
It's unfortunate. Because again, anytime, you know, a lot of times if we're out that way, Wayne and I probably are together a good portion of the time, and that's where we would go. But now, you know, we'll find an alternative, because the other side, what they did was they give people an opportunity to figure out that there's much better beer out there than to be tripping out over their sorry ass.
See, and now with that in mind, we've got so many beers that are in that category, to where, you know, not just because we're here, but shit, the Death series,
man,
that's going quarterly now.
Man,
hey, we can't wait for that quarterly Death.
There's another one in March, right?
4 every 3 months. Death is coming out.
We'll start different tiers.
March,
I'm kidding.
March, June, September, December. Let's do it.
So I mean, you guys, you just said it, Blanton's barrels, right? So like, this next one's in Blanton's barrels. So what I want to do, if I can make it happen. So this is not a promise right now.
It's a promise right now.
It sounds like you can make it happen. Didn't we start out the show with you making it happen?
I want to go to 6 barrels. So we got 5 Blanton's barrels for this year.
Okay.
So we kicked it up. Last year we had 4. The year before that we had 2.
Okay.
Next year I want to do 6, and I want to do 2 barrels of each of the first 3 years and blend that shit together. So I want to do Elijah
little
Craig,
Grand Cru, huh?
Yeah, buddy. So year 4, we're gonna have all of the blend together, same base. We'll have vanilla, but I'll be in those.
So what you're telling me is make sure I keep my 140 membership.
You better keep your 140, because what happens in that 140 membership?
Now the thing too, we talked about Death.
Yeah.
But your BBA morning brew is also it's over there. I told Sasha that was it. Didn't I?
That's modern morning. Yeah.
But modern morning is the base.
That's the cold brew.
Hey, dog. Hey, y'all got a winner with them shits for real.
I mean, so those are the things that founders let everybody else catch up on while they were sleeping.
Yep.
And you know, doing whatever the hell they do. And we're happy about it. I mean, and we found some, you know, some other outstanding breweries.
Some suitable replacements.
In Brew Detroit. In Batch Brewery, in the Eastern Market and Ferndale Project. I mean, right here locally, we've got very suitable replacements. Y'all kicking out good shit, and keep it up, man.
And not even that. And don't get me wrong, the fact that the beer is great, but also good people.
Yeah.
And founders,
ding. Where's the Dusty ass
founders?
bell?
You know, founders showed us that you know you can make good beer and be a dickhead.
Yeah.
But you know, you guys over at Brew Detroit, Batch, Ferndale Project / Eastern Market, and the folks over at Drafting Table, we've been able to
man.
They out the altar of Pro Pills. Yes.
Oh, yeah, man. So
I mean, Adam out of Ascension.
Off the cab.
Look, Adam out of
at
Ascension.
Ascension, yeah.
Again, Ellison,
And you know what?
Brewing.
I'm gonna give Adam a
It
shout.
goes out there.
So
Don't forget Ellison.
Huh?
Ellison.
Yeah, Ellison.
I mean, it's so many good breweries.
I'm gonna give Adam a shout though.
Adam
So when this founder shit first jumped off, we had Adam on the podcast, and Adam very, very respectfully disagreed with our position.
He did,
and
we respected that.
Yeah, it wasn't in a confrontational way, but he was on the wait and see train. And I'm like, dog, what else do you need to see? But you know, it kind of is what it is. I get someone who might think that
We
way if
respected
they're
his
from
opinion.
a particular place. Sure. And he gave us his background, so I understand why he did that.
Sure.
When I saw him after the settlement, he said very tersely to me, that shit really hit the fan, didn't it? I told you what was going to happen, man. And we laughed about it, and that was that. But I bring that up to say we can disagree without being disagreeable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, Adam disagreed with us on that particular matter, but was as hospitable as anybody else has been while we were in his space, has always been a friend to us. So
Continues to be a friend.
Yeah. So I can appreciate us being able to disagree without being disagreeable.
How fucking terrible would it be if we all agreed on the same thing all the time?
Fuck that.
We only have one beer. We only have one fucking...
Imagine if Sasha didn't have a Dusty Bell and it just worked every
Dusty
time.
Bell, nothing to ring a bell
You know.
about because the shit's all the same.
You jealous because it's over here and you can't bring it.
BYOB.
Bring your own bell. That's right.
So obviously, like not the whole reason, aside from you guys being friends, and I love hanging out with you guys, just gives me a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we had we're on the diversity tip, right? So
Yeah.
when we went to the winter conference for the Michigan Brewers Guild, they made it a point for 2 sessions, not just one, but each of the 2 days, the keynote had a lot to do with diversity in brewing. First session was
How many diverse people were there?
Well,
very little.
What the crowd
Very
look like?
little.
Yeah, I mean that's
so I think that, they all look how they look. High,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
okay.
But and I'm not here to
And we're
defend
used to
or
that.
oppose. Well, of
Yeah.
course, it would be impossible not to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has to start with the people that do look like me,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because there's already a monopoly on, more or less, on.
It's got to be a concerted effort.
right.
It's got to be well thought out, and it's got to be intentional. Intentional is the true word that it has to be, because if it's not intentional, along with being genuine, it won't happen. Like we were talking about just the makeup of Brew Detroit and what's happening here is significant in trying to mirror the community, as I know Steven Rogenson is doing over at Batch as well, and Dane is. I mean, so, when it's intentional and genuine, it happens. Yeah. And I think what organically happens also is, one, if you're a brewer in the city of Detroit, and what I've been told in some conversations, like, hell, how can you not count 80% of your potential customer base?
80 plus.
Is you,
There
you
are
know,
no
how
other
you,
people here. There are no other people here.
and you know what? You can't just say, fuck you to 80%
Right,
of your
here.
potential customer base.
I want
You know, say, I'm only going to, go after this 20% that live here.
I want
You won't
to
survive.
quote Juho right quick.
Come on.
So Juho is one of the OGs. Launched Juho wine.
He's called my brew hero.
His brew hero.
My brew hero.
This guy is talk about a well slayer back in the day. These days he's just drinking regular shit. But there was a time he'll
get whatever you
popping
want.
out angry chair shit on a Monday night like, it's all right.
It's all right. Toppling Goliath. Oh, what is this?
Right.
You know,
I get this all day.
assassin.
But the night we had Gracie on, shortly after she became the DEI person at Founders, we had the conversation. She was remote. We had her over the phone because she had some other stuff to do. So when she got off the phone, part of what she said was, well, Founders, we don't want to look like we're pandering, and overcompensating in terms of our DEI efforts.
She was new to the job
Juho, with his vein popping out of his forehead.
It's like the most
Why
basic
the
thing
fuck
ever.
not?
Yeah, like
Because you got to fix this thing. If you're pandering, if somebody thinks you're pandering, you can't worry about what somebody
you're
else
already
thinks.
pandering.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever effort you
Yep.
make is going to be pandering. So pander the fuck out of this thing and get your shit together.
And I'm sorry.
Everybody,
Right now,
every
Harry.
eye is on
And
you.
we're waiting for it to basically doing 180.
Harry,
And they had an opportunity to either be
They were given the space to do it.
Yeah.
they had an
Juho's
opportunity to either be a case study of what to do or what not to do.
Mhm.
And they chose to be a case study of what not
Yep.
to do.
Is Juho black, Harry?
No, Juho is not black.
Is Juho white, Harry?
Juho is not white.
What is Juho, Harry?
If I'm not mistaken, he is Korean, but I'm not
Korean?
certain.
Okay.
Juho, when you get a minute,
I just
get back
wanted
it
to
so
be-
we can classify it
I just
properly.
wanted to
Why would you message Juho right now?
to show
Randomly.
the importance of that. No.
No,
The importance of that was to show that Juho was not white nor black,
Yeah.
but had the position
Got a horse in the race.
on, what diversity and inclusion looks like from his perspective, and he was pissed.
Like I said, his
literally
vein
had
was
to
popping
calm
out
him
his forehead.
down.
He was pissed
We
off.
were like, Juho, relax. He was like,
No, fuck that.
and Juho was like, man, that's bullshit. That's what he was hot about it. I mean, and
again, if you go back and listen to that episode, you'll hear him. Like he's very passionate about it.
we don't use the word allies, not on our on our podcast.
You a
because-
co-conspirator, man.
oh,
You
that's
know,
a lot cooler.
well, not just. I mean, we use friends.
Yep.
And
we
I
refer to our Brewz Brothaz family as that family.
family. Because it's more than just being an ally. Because well, we know our allies can kind of depends on what's in it for them.
Check in, check out.
Mhm.
Co-conspirators mean you in it together. Family means you in it together. So we use strategic terms. That means we're in this thing together and not just for the time being. And we can turn our backs when it's convenient to us.
Yeah.
If the shit gets too hot, we're going to be on our way. Versus, if the shit gets too hot,
we locking arms, baby. Let's go.
Flame jumpers,
we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
There it is. Turn the hat to the back.
That's what I'm
That's
talking
a strong
about.
move.
Yeah.
We ready to knuckle up now,
Yeah, let's get with it.
When they run out, you run in.
That's it.
That's it.
No, I think it's necessary. Like that's
Hey, I got a question for you, Dave.
Go ahead.
We getting ready to see.
You know what happened
True
the last
test.
time?
True.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm so sorry.
And the question is, are you going to make depth 4 times the?
Let me take a drink.
Set up. You take a drink. Here you go.
I messaged Juho, and the last time I messaged him was 2019.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it'll be
wow.
some random shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's random. Okay.
Was he Korean in 2019?
It is by mistake.
Now,
Was he Korean in 2019?
Harry, we're going to see if Day and Zach, for you two, question for both of you. And this goes back to a few months ago. I was in the Atlanta airport. And remember when they had that shooting in the Atlanta airport? Mm-hmm. My wife and I were leaving out, and at the airport,
right,
we see a group of us. We see a group. Let me go back. There's also a John Lewis exhibit in the Atlanta airport. My wife and I were admiring the John Lewis exhibit.
Good trouble.
And when we turned, good trouble. And as we turn to leave it to go to, we get to the airport early, not rushing, not doing O.J. Simpson. So
that could go a lot of ways.
He drives really slowly.
That could, but
it's not.
We want to take our time when we're in the airport. So again, checking out the John Lewis exhibit. Great, good trouble. And so as we're leaving, heading to the gate, a mass of people come running this way. And we see another mass of people come running this way. What we start doing, Harry?
Running.
We start running. Question. Dave, what do you do? Zach, what do you do?
Like the tough guy, I mean, he's like, fuck that. I'm running into that crowd. No, not really. No, I'm running.
There is no tough guy in me, so I'm definitely running.
No, I mean, I would do the same thing, man. There's danger.
But I was running without thinking about it.
There's danger. There's not the smart person in me.
Cedric the Entertainer does a piece on Kings of Comedy talking about black people. He said,
come on, Harry.
Black people, when you see a motherfucker run, you run too. They ain't got time to figure out what the fuck is happening. I need to know where we running afterwards. We'll talk when we get there.
Something's changing.
I
Just
see
go.
Cedric Entertainer in his suit doing the bit.
Right, he's on the stage looking around. It's like he see motherfuckers.
I mean, I'm taking off to everybody else.
I'm running too.
Yeah, and I just had to ask that question as kind of a trick question to see if we were going to give you a black card today. Because look, the answer obviously is you just start running.
You start running.
You don't know what's going on. We didn't know what's going on.
Everybody else running, you can fuck on.
Hey, look, we said, I'm
going to live today.
Look, the only thing, this is what did happen. Yeah. My wife and I looked at each other, made eye contact, and we did what, Sasha? We ran.
Didn't have to say a word.
Didn't say nothing.
Didn't have to say a word.
No.
Just eye contact, man.
It was like
You've been married long enough, so you know that. You know, you ain't got to say that.
Yeah. Like, look, crowd running on. We'll figure this shit out outside.
Right.
Hey, what we running for?
Right. When everybody stopped running, then we'll figure out what we was running for.
Listen, it's like, you assess the crowd. How many? There's 50 people running? There's a lot of.
It's got to be something.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple.
You just keep
Yeah.
going.
If it's two some bitches running,
they're just scared about it.
they might have stole something.
No,
late for
it
their
was
flight.
hundreds. It was an onslaught of people running. It was,
I'm out of there.
Which is
Yeah,
funny
we
because if you asked me point blank, did you follow the crowd? I would say, fuck no, the crowd is ridiculous. I would never follow them. Way too stupid.
Yeah.
But if they ran by me, fuck that. It will physically follow the crowd.
We'll figure out the details later, but for now we running, goddamn.
Peace out.
And we know it's always some Rambos like Dave out there. Oh, fuck this, I'm going in. Hey, look, I go to the front of the line now.
Where
I don't have
are
to
those
wait.
gunshots
Fuck
coming
TSA,
from?
give me that gun.
Gotta be in this corridor over here. No, I'm not doing that. No way. I mean, like, I like to think, like, there's always, like, nowadays, there's always that scenario that plays in your head, right?
It's got, yeah.
You're thinking about that stuff on a regular basis, and it's like, so I'm with Marissa and the kids, right? Like, if it's close contact, in my head, as I replay this over and over and over again, I'm like, I'm shielding them. I'm
You got-
grabbing them and
yep.
covering them up
Yep.
and getting them out of danger.
Yep.
Like,
That's
I'm
your
by
instinct.
myself, I'm running with everybody else.
Right.
But like,
Right.
the first thing is like safety.
You
right?
got to cover what's yours.
And I know that's in my nature because I know like if I have to slam on the brakes and Marissa
Handout.
is in the front seat, it happens automatically.
You stopping short with me?
Automatically. Like that's not like it just happens. Right?
You
Like,
ever hit the brakes hard
what
on
are you
purpose
doing?
to
I'm
get a
like,
little?
what are you doing?
Only
I'm
when
like,
she's
I don't
drinking
know what I'm
something.
That's a thing. That's not a thing y'all do for real.
What?
What's that?
Huh?
That's not.
What are you talking about?
What you talking about? What am I talking
No,
about?
what is
You
he
know
talking
you
about?
said.
I don't know. I
What are you talking about?
I hear
You ever stop the brake? You know what?
Well, we stopped the brakes at stop signs and like red lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely not when y'all are drinking something.
Zach.
Not them. Definitely not them.
That's what I said.
Now,
not
every
that.
time I'm in the damn car with Rico, I'll be like, "Did you have to stop that hard?"
I mean, I'm just saying.
What
You
is
got
that?
to you got to make sure you're okay. You know. Just,
Yeah, you good?
You good? You all right?
Like,
Don't
you
want
can
you-
move your hand now.
We don't want you to fly through the windshield. You know?
Wait a minute.
This
I
is
thought
all-
it was good.
Are you
I'm a little
suggesting
sad
that
about
we
it.
may not be
You
altruistic
said-
in our
you said
safety
that.
measures? So what?
I didn't think about it until you said it.
I said
And
we-
now I'm questioning
I
every
said we got to
time.
make sure you
I mean, it
safe.
can be both though.
Right?
Really?
Two birds,
Can it?
one-
Two
Can it?
things can be true at once.
Well, I mean, we'd like you to live and
And to cop
then-
a feel.
Make sure you're safe.
There you go.
yes. What both
Listen,
of you said.
I am ruined. I'm
So
just
No, it's for your safety.
just
You're
going
safe.
back a little
second
bit
thing is
to
for us.
sorry.
these sessions. Like
Yeah.
I just want to be like
Oh, yes.
they were both so they took different angles. So
Mhm.
one was about being inclusive and equity.
Founders love to charge in that conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
in the brewing industry and everything that I would like us to be doing here and we are doing here.
Mhm.
But I would also like everybody else to be doing the same thing that
Right.
they're talking about. So one in-house, and then the other session is outside. Who's in your tap room?
Who's in your tap
Yep.
room? Yeah.
What message are you sending? And I think once you take care of one, I think if you start from within 1st,
Mhm.
right, and then that starts to reflect who's in your tasting room, right?
Mhm.
Who's in your tap room? What are your values? Doing it the other way doesn't necessarily happen as quickly,
Good staff brings
Right.
good customers.
but at the same
That's-
time, I think that just coming from those conversations and listening to, I wish I would have prepared.
The
a little bit better
one- no, but
for
the
this,
woman-
I don't
the
know
woman
names of
from-
people who spoke.
The woman
I
from
know
the
that
Brewmasters
Val-
Association, she was really good. The keynote.
the first one.
She was great.
Yes.
Yes.
So the first day,
And she had a
was
wild
with a
story.
malt group, and I don't remember her name. And we communicated. and we
but
started
she had-
talking about- I actually even talked to them about talked to her about Brewz Brothaz in the podcast.
And she
Nice.
worked in like liquor sales for years. She's been all over the country. She had a great story.
Yeah,
that was
she
a
had an amazing story.
yeah.
And then the second session had to do with it was Bell's and their new DEI person, and
So yeah, we just met. We were introduced to her via
Yeah.
Good.
email. I was communicating with her a little bit last week.
sweet.
Yeah.
And I wish I like I said I wish I would have prepared a little bit more to have her name, but at the same time, it's like yes, that needs to happen over there. That needs to happen in a lot more places.
Yeah.
My only gripe with that, and I'm on the outside. I had no business being there. I was just really drunk the whole time, which I'm not going to
Don't apologize for that.
Not
Right, you get a
apologize
bill
that.
for that, man.
Yeah.
Loved it. My only issue was the delivery was done by, as you would say, cis white people.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I will give them credit for from North Center, Cody. She led that discussion. But as I looked at I know the bigger breweries have more cachet, they have more pull. But I was looking around, and I'm not the most expert person, but I looked at a lot of people in the crowd that had far more diverse staff than from what I was hearing. And so I would prefer them, instead of taking volunteers, to scan.
Mm-hmm.
Look, who's doing it right? Why are they doing it that way? I'll use North Center again. Their head brewer is a transgender woman. Their lead salesperson is a woman, and they spent more money on the lift and things like that. So doesn't have to. So, but why was he listening? Why was Kevin listening to that?
Mm-hmm.
That's my only gripe. It's a little one, maybe not, but I just
And I'm glad that Ed Colazo from Cityville, he stood up.
yes.
Somebody asked him, and he was like, we're talking about diversity here, and I stand up and I look around. There aren't many people, if any other people, who look like me in this room right now.
Right, because the question now is, who are we talking to and who's talking to us?
Well, that's it. It's a vacuum.
So, when I first started doing diversity work, again, this is before it had a name.
Yeah.
And when I would go and do workshops, the organization I was contracting with at that time always sent people in pairs. It was always two of us. And so early on, I was always, for some reason, I always seemed to be paired with a white woman. So mind you, at this time, I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm 6'2" with locks damn near down to my waist and a heavy beard and all this sort of thing. So it's hot. It is hot, right?
Yes.
So when I walk into the room, I completely change the dynamic, because what these people expect is for white people to come and talk to them about diversity. And when that's not happening, it's like, oh shit, he might actually
challenge.
He's going to make me do something.
Ask me a question about, like, I'm going to be challenged.
Right.
You won't accept me having black friends. There's going to be a pass. There's going to be more than that.
Right, exactly. And so that's exactly what the fuck I do too. Yeah. I come in there and I fuck the room up.
Yeah. Shouldn't it be uncomfortable?
It should be uncomfortable.
Yep.
The point at which it starts to get uncomfortable is where there's some progress happening.
Yep.
If there's no discomfort, then what you've had is a party. You haven't had a workshop. You haven't had
doesn't mean anything. It's not impactful.
That means it's not impactful. Yeah. Even in my work, in my contract work, there was a time where when I would get a call to do a single engagement with with an organization or company or whatever, and I would go do it and get my check and that'd be that. But these days, I will not accept doing a one-time engagement. And it's not about the money. It's not about getting repeat money. It's about, I understand that nothing is going to be accomplished in one session.
And the arrogance to think that you could is just unfathomable.
It is, right? I don't have that much hubris. I got some hubris. Just not that much. But I go into it telling people, I'm not about engagements. I'm about relationships. Yeah. So if this is not something we're going to continue to do and it's not going to be fruitful, I'm not going to take your money, because it's going to you might as well throw it out the window.
Don't do this just to be like, we did this.
Mm-hmm. I'm not here to check a box.
There's no plaque.
I'm not here to check a box. That's if you want somebody to check a box, I don't know who to tell you to call, but you can get off the phone with me.
I tell you who it's not.
Right, I can tell you exactly who it's not. So, like I said, there's got to be some substance behind it if you're going to go about moving toward this whole, diversity, inclusion, equity, whatever the buzz term happens to be right now. Sure. Yep. But there's got to be some intentionality and some seriousness about doing the work.
I wonder, you said buzzwords there.
I was going to, yeah, that's.
I think that's something people say a lot. Aside from race, too, it's anything when they're describing things that they want to be true, things they think are true, but oftentimes things that are not true. And so I wonder, like, how the three of you react to that. It's easy to do.
I think we can use a beer analogy.
Excellent.
We can always use a beer analogy.
With
haven't even heard it yet. Gave it a bill.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get a bill when I said something. It's a thought. That was all
beer
right.
Always gets a bill.
Write that shit down. Beer analogy. But we started out the podcast earlier talking about how things went hazy, and then it came back to clear beers. And there's always that buzzword in terms of what's the popular thing to
DDH,
do,
BBA,
versus just what's the right thing to do. So I think what we try to look at is we look at, it's not even intentionality, but if you're doing the right thing,
purpose,
and that's it. If it's purposeful, if you're doing it because of, hey, I'm not hiring to meet a quota. I'm not the NFL who hired Lovie Smith.
The Rooney Rule. What a terrible hire that was.
If they didn't want Lovie Smith as the head coach, keep him where you want him at. Don't just placate us. I mean, so nobody's taking that as a serious hire. The black community especially. That because you got the lawsuit by the Miami coach, by Brian Flores.
Yeah. As an aside, did you see Nick Wright and his piece on that?
No, I didn't.
He ran the probability through a randomizer of black coaches in the NFL.
Oh God.
He's like, even this blind randomizer
Wouldn't pick
you
Lovie
would not
Smith.
come, you would not come up with so few black
He
coaches.
couldn't win
in
at
10 years.
Illinois. He couldn't win in the Big Ten. Why? If you're gonna do that, just hire Brian Flores. For God's sake, what are you doing? Jesus.
Yeah.
Who was from what I hear, supposedly a leading candidate for the job before the lawsuit.
Can I get a Jim Caldwell?
You
9
where
7, 2 times in Detroit. 2 times.
and
I
that's
miss him.
Yeah. Who you talking?
when that NFL Billionaires Club is much similar to the brewing industry.
Yeah.
In terms of the makeup of who put it together, how it was structured, and not trying to really let anybody in. And even when they think in their minds, like, hey, I hired a black coach, it's like having that black friend.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's not very personal. It's not really who you are. It's not genuine. And that's what is so apparent when you are trying to be something you're not. And so all that the black community and what we look for is just be genuine, do what's real. That's all we want is true, genuine purpose, and say, hey, we all matter the same. We all drink beer the same. We all can have a little dusty ass bell the same, but it doesn't matter.
It's equity. It's equity and equality. It's right. It's that fence diagram.
Yeah. The
with
difference.
the three people.
Yeah. Equality is everybody getting the same fucking thing, but equity is everybody getting what they need.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so, and when you bring up a good point, because a lot of times I get the question of, well, what exactly is it that you want breweries to do to attract black people? Not a fucking thing. I want you to do the right thing, and I will feel comfortable coming to your brewery.
Don't be an ass face, and I'll come in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Because black people are not a monolith. So as much as I would love to come in here, and every time I come, I hear Wu-Tang blasting through the speakers, you might see me here every day if that's the case. But conversely, I know black people who,
man, I want to hear some
God
skin.
forbid, they hate Wu-Tang. I don't know why the fuck they're alive, but
Who hates
they
Wu-Tang?
they hate Wu-Tang.
I'm having a hard time right now.
Hate Wu-Tang.
Hate is a strong
If
word.
I can't hear,
I would say not familiar.
I
with
wanna
his
hear some
catalog.
He's not watching. I could call Kari Spence right now and ask him how he feels about Wu-Tang. He'd be like, man, fuck Wu-Tang and give me a Dog Pound CD. Yeah.
Look,
So
but I want to hear Wu-Tang and the police.
Right.
Every breath you
Yeah, exactly. So
every
we're not
breath.
we're not a monolith. There's not a set way to say, hey, this is how I'm gonna get black people to come to my brewery. But if you're doing the right thing, and I can feel comfortable being in your space, then
I'm gonna come there.
I don't feel like I don't have no problems coming here.
Yep.
I don't have no problems going to Eastern Market.
Yep.
I don't have problems going to Ferndale Project.
So it's like
I don't have problems at Batch.
they shouldn't change. They should just be authentic. And if
Just
they're going to
be-
be
yeah.
dicks, be dicks. So we know what you are right away,
Just
and then
be
we
who
won't come
you
in.
are. You was what you was when you got here. Just be who you are. And that's, and that's it.
And going back to Charlotte Street, the reason Tracy was so believable is because we all had issues when we went there.
Right. It was like,
It
what?
wasn't
That's
like
not
it's
far fetched
like-
at all. Like
Tracy, I can't believe that shit happened to you. I've never had a problem there. Versus, that shit happens all the time.
Yeah, it
now.
makes perfect
Yeah, we
sense.
suffer through it.
Yeah.
We like the beer, so we just suffer through it.
And I mean, sometimes we talk ourselves out of it, right? We like, you know what? Maybe I'm tripping.
Yep.
Right. Maybe I'm
that's
not.
not what it is.
Maybe,
Maybe
maybe
it's
I
me.
didn't see what I
Maybe
saw.
me.
Maybe I didn't
Maybe
hear
she
what I
went to
hear.
3 other tables before coming to me because, it's a
He didn't.
rotation that she has to follow.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I've been here for half an hour and she hasn't come to me
Yeah.
yet.
So maybe I'm tripping.
I'm tripping. It's me.
Yeah.
So when I said I grew up with the most diverse group of friends that I've ever seen, that's not always the good side. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of fucked up people too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so when I see stuff like that, I'm like, that's absolutely believable.
Yeah.
That's 100% believable, and
Because you've seen it and
there's
heard it.
no reason for me to say that's not possible.
Color and quality are not the same
Right?
thing.
So like there's
Absolutely.
not,
They're just not.
Absolutely.
and that's like hey man, don't be like that.
Yeah.
Like if you're like that, I'd drop you. No
Yeah, we
problem.
good.
Like,
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
I'm not oblivious to the other side of the whole diversity thing. Like there's the opposite ends of the spectrum, and there are certain people who are allies and family,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of those people. But there are also people that I have cut off for the simple fact that you're an asshole, racist piece of shit. That's not. I'm cool with saying, "See you later."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And that's the thing about being family, right? I never had to have a conversation with you, Dave, about, hey, this is what you should do. This is, we never had a conversation about this is how you ingratiate yourself to Brewz Brothaz. You've been who you are from day one, and we clicked. And when I say we, I don't mean me and you clicked, but I mean the ethos of the group. You embody that as again the friends that we constantly mention, and everybody's not going to do that, and that's fine.
Right.
We don't have to fuck with everybody.
Right.
I don't have a problem saying fuck you to somebody who does not.
You don't?
You've never heard me say that before?
No. This is shocking.
But I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem dismissing someone who has views that are completely unaligned with the Brewz Brothaz and our mission. I don't have a problem if we disagree on points, but if you disagree with the fact that everybody, marginalized communities included, should be included in this craft beer industry, if you disagree with that, you can get the fuck on.
If you tolerate your guests giving black people a look that we know we're going to receive when we walk in. Because typically when we walk into a craft brew establishment, rarely do we see one that looks like us.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We've become accustomed to knowing that
we give the room a scan.
you get automatically.
Yep.
That's, you give the scan, and if I walk in and I see Sasha, my eyes are kind of like,
I have walked in and seen a black person and legit sat next to them like, hey, do I know you? Like,
but it's like,
Yeah,
wow. But normally we're not expecting it. And it's okay because we've been to enough, and it's not about, we're here for the beer. And we'll strike up conversation, and we'll strike up somebody and end up on a few occasions, they've been invited to become Brewz Brothaz. And those people that on those occasions even been invited to become Brewz Brothaz have even become good friends along the way. But we've also walked into an establishment and the whole world is like, what the hell are you doing here?
And it's palpable. You feel it.
Yep.
And you don't have to say it. You sense it. You know it. And when that happens, and you go and the service allows that to happen as well, mentally you check in like, you know what? Nah, this ain't where I belong.
So listen,
and I appreciate it.
You feel it physically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Do you,
palpable,
at
man.
that point, are you like, I walked in here, I'm going to sit down and have beer?
Because again, it goes back to that. Maybe I'm tripping.
Or am I going to walk?
And that's it.
Okay.
You do it because it's maybe I'm tripping. Okay. Maybe it's me because of the conditioning
Sure.
that's been inbred in us from, we won't go back to the slave trade, but that shit is real.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're only a couple generations away from that. People don't realize
Get
that.
over it.
But
over what?
My
My
wife's
grandma?
great-grandmother.
Come on, man.
My wife's great-grandmother.
Yep.
That means her mother's grandmother was a slave.
Yep. My grandmother's mother.
It ain't that far away.
Yeah.
And my wife's great-grandmother, who I'm speaking of, I knew.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about we read and saw.
Yeah.
Yep.
We went and stayed on a farm.
Yeah.
Yep. Grew
And my
up
wife
with
would get
her
mad.
in
She
the house.
pinched my butt
Yes.
and said, "Oh, you got you a good light skin one."
Yeah.
So,
But that's
Smile
how,
and laugh.
that's
Smile
how
and laugh.
close it is.
this is how close
Yeah.
this relationship is to what is assuming so far away when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's me, so we get over that and we keep it moving. And
Ruby
say,
Bridges is still alive.
Ruby Bridges is still alive.
Yep.
and
She's not that old.
And she's not alive in like
Younger,
97.
than my mom.
And
Hey, man,
on
she's younger than my mom and dad.
I was about to say she's my parents.
My
age.
parents are almost
Yeah.
70. And I
I'm
think
39 and I was bust for
39.
segregation.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you believe Wayne is 39, I got some beachfront property.
I was
Gotta bring-
like, yeah, you know what?
I was like,
We're just
I was
used
like,
to his lies.
Seriously, seriously.
I thought black didn't crack.
Felt good about being 36 for a second.
In the late 70s. And I was bused. And on this episode, I'll give true age. In the late 70s, when I was 9 and 10 years old, and before that, because I started getting bused in the first grade. So it's kind of it's about 75, 76.
Where are we physically?
I'm a first grader, so I'm
but what city, huh?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Thank you.
Detroit, Michigan. Physically, we're in Detroit. I started going to Cray Elementary School on Puritan between Southfield and Greenfield. I was bused over to the Brightmoor area in terms of Finkel and Telegraph.
I'm stunned.
To go to Hubert Elementary School on Lanphier. Hubert Elementary on
Ain't
Lanphier.
nobody busting nobody over there now.
No, they did, but back then, Hubert on Lanphier and Murphy Middle School right on Finkel and Telegraph until the 7th grade. And that was, so kind of mid-70s to the early 80s. That was for segregation. Yeah.
I got bused to Ann Arbor Trail in the early 90s. And we went there, and we were the first black students to come there. And then I was there 3 years as middle school. By the time I graduated.
In the early fucking 90s.
Yeah,
this isn't history, this is in my lifetime. If you were alive, it's not history.
Yeah. By the time I left, by the time I graduated, it was more than 50% black. Because people pulled their kids out, they protested in front of that school. They didn't want us in the neighborhood. I am 43. And this is middle school for me in the early 90s.
See, Sasha, you don't look a day past 25.
Thank you, babe.
Heard.
I mean, but with this,
not a day.
Going back to the brewery owners, if you allow your staff to treat anyone different than anyone else,
Right.
then you should be held accountable for that because it becomes acceptable to them.
I have walked into breweries and I've seen people look at me and give me that face. And if I go and sit down and order a beer and the staff doesn't give me that attitude, then I'm going to stay there.
I'm good.
Because
right.
I have no control over what these people
Now, what happens if the staff does it, though?
Huh?
If the staff does it.
If the staff does it, I'm not coming back. And I'm probably telling y'all.
Right.
And by y'all, I mean everybody.
Right.
So
but
that's why I asked, do you stay there for just to clear your head and be like, maybe this was.
Well, like I said,
it depends on how the staff treats me.
But then, like, you get that beer and you're like, nope. It wasn't in my head.
It wasn't in my head. I'm out.
I figured it out.
And going back to Charlotte Street, when we would stop in Grand Rapids, we would get a cool bartender or a cool waitress, and that would keep us coming back because we would just discount all the looks we were given from everybody else in the joint.
Because the face-to-face was right.
The face-to-face was right.
People give you looks everywhere.
And that's it.
And you get used to that.
But so when the story breaks, though, you can see, like, I can see how this could happen. Because had I not had that one bartender, because I've had others that were bad, and I put it on the condition that we do, like, maybe I'm tripping.
Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah.
Maybe I'm like, damn, I've been at the bar and he ain't,
I might have been pissing, but do you feel conditioned to feel that way? I know you guys were already talking about when I walked back.
It's a conditioning because you don't want to make things more than they are. You don't want to always be on the defense. You don't want to always be on your guard.
Because that's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And
you want to be able to go in and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And as much as you know what you go through, this conversation about why does it always have to be about race?
You don't want it to be
annoying.
Because I'm black.
It is.
Right, because it's always about race.
For people
for
whom this is not an issue, they're like, why are you making this an issue? Like, but because it fucking is.
It is.
You can't just be you. You have to be black you.
Right.
Yes,
I can just be me.
You got to be black you, and as black you, now you got to
be white you.
Be the mouthpiece and explain to white people what black you has to go through.
Man.
I'm gonna tell you,
it's tiring, man.
Sometimes I text Sasha.
You can see my face on the radio right now.
Sometimes Sasha and I have text conversations. She's like, you know what? I done had enough of white people shit today.
It's a too many white people day.
You know what? Me too. Depending on what's right. Hey, you raise your can because sometimes you have enough of white people shit and you white.
Meet my parents. Like, are you kidding me?
I live in Ypsi. My kids go to school in Ann Arbor. And everything is white all the time.
Yes.
Even though I live in FC, I live in a township, and that is a very white place.
Going to Ann Arbor for school, good Lord.
Yeah, it is something. So, I have my days, and I'm just like, I just can't. There will be many days where I go a whole day and I don't see another black person other than my family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can somebody just understand what the hell I'm going through? I go into the grocery store, I go get some takeout or whatever, and I don't see nobody else that looks like me.
That you know what my situation.
I got to
was
interject
last week.
with
So,
Sasha.
you know, that whole being black in this wider space.
Oh my God.
We got a newsletter, and I'm not going to name names because I feel like they're going to make some effort to make it right.
Can we sneeze and say their name in the middle of the sneeze?
I'm not going to do them like that. Right. But if they fuck it up, the next time we talk,
Next time.
Mark the date down.
Yeah,
Right.
so we're not even going to get to intros. As you be like, people you're talking about.
So my daughter is in elementary school. So her elementary school sends out a newsletter frequently, and so we get the newsletter for February.
Oh God!
And the newsletter says February is Diversity and Inclusion Month.
That's what it is now.
Yeah.
So
Did you know?
my wife calls me.
Wait, no,
Now,
that's not.
So this is on Facebook.
That's not
my
what it
wife
is.
calls me and says, "Hey, did you see the post from the school on Facebook?" I was like, "No, what's up?" She sends me a screenshot, and the only word I could think of was unfucking acceptable. That's all I said. And so
They basically made every minority a black person.
essentially, so I was very polite in my disagreement.
Who sends these stuff out? They're like, yeah, this is great. I love the way this
Uh-huh.
works.
Yeah, so
Mail
yeah, so- right. We're getting to it, right? So my initial comment was, there must be some confusion here because February is Black History Month.
I'm sorry. Are you an idiot?
April, right? April is
Diversity Inclusion Month. Thank you.
You know, can we get the newsletter rectified in order to reflect what this month actually should be, and also get these activities switched around so that we're doing things that are relevant to the month?
Yeah.
We get this back and forth. Oh, well, the teachers wanted something fresh.
Fuck
They want to
them.
do something new.
Oh, sorry.
I don't
Teachers
really
wanna
give a
change
shit.
up one
I don't give a fuck. And I said that in so many words. I said, your response does not satisfy me, is what I said.
It's placating.
It is. And so it went a step beyond placating, and they went to play the victim, doing what white women often do. Well, we're just a committee of 5 white ladies, and we're
That
trying
sounds like
to
100%.
make- right. We're trying to make sure everybody's included in everything, and we're trying really hard. I don't give a fuck about that either.
Parents.
What I'm concerned with is
How is
not.
that even a relevant argument? Like, what does that even mean?
right.
Like,
So you mean to tell
Sky
me
blue. Today's Thursday.
that
Fuck.
right? So these are just PTO people. They don't even work for the district. So between these 5 white women on this
Oh
PTO
God, their moms
and the district, nobody said, "Hey, y'all fucking up. This is Black History Month. Put that diversity and inclusion shit somewhere else." But it made it past all of these checkpoints.
I'm saying.
Yep.
And nothing was going to change if I wasn't on Facebook raising hell.
Did it change?
It's on
That's
the
what
way,
he
and you
sees.
can bet your ass my wife and I are about to be at the PTO meeting next week. So,
I
Excellent.
can't
Yeah.
wait to hear how that's going.
oh yeah, it's about to go down.
And that to me is so astonishing. I don't want to make my problem yours because it's not the same. My wife is Jewish. Our son, as a result, is as well. I grew up in northern Macomb County. We moved back there for a little bit.
I know
And
a little bit about Northern. I work. in
sorry about that. But so my wife is from New York. She has no clue where we are. And we start preschool and you get to December and it's like Christmas.
Damn, you started preschool?
I did. And like I did pretty well in it too.
Okay. Did you move forward?
No, I'm still there.
Okay.
I'm so happy
It's a
that
learning-
all of Sasha, what she's doing,
It's a
is
learning-
all on camera.
It's a learning process. But it made me think about it. And again, I'm not comparing, but it's just a bunch of Christian white people, right? They didn't disrespect him or us, but there was no mention of Hanukkah at all.
Yep.
They didn't skip it. They didn't block it out. They
There was
didn't
no mention of
They
it.
didn't even think about it.
Doesn't exist.
So we moved.
So that's the thing. And my degree is in history. I'm an historian by trade and by education and by hobby. There is nothing worse than being omitted. If somebody tells a lie about you, you
least
can
you
go
exist.
to somebody and say, "That's a fucking lie," and you can tell them the truth. When you are completely omitted from the narrative altogether,
Means you're
what
not
do you have
worthy
to
of
dispute?
mentioning.
What the fuck do you do?
Well,
You're
and
not worthy of mentioning.
You're not worthy of mention.
And I'll be
I don't
honest.
even have anything to refute. because I'm not there.
I'll be honest, because again, I don't want to put myself. I didn't know what exactly to do because I'm not the oppressed person.
Yeah.
He's my kid, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, white Christian guy. I'm good.
Yep.
So it was just so bizarre, and again, I'm not comparing, but that feeling.
The comparison is legitimate.
What I'm saying is that feeling sucks. And it's totally unnecessary. And it's completely avoidable.
Yep. And I bit my tongue so much in that Facebook post because I also understand how I need to come across.
Can't be angry black man.
Can't be the angry black man.
I mean,
I can't be intimidating, or else we might get a restraining order, right, Wayne? So I can't be too aggressive.
I feel like there's a story
via electronic communication, right?
It is. It is.
Mr. and Mrs. Weaver, we're going to need a grandparent.
No.
Police station.
I'll give you a better one.
Mm-hmm.
When we started out podcasting, we podcasted from our intention was to do one show a month in studio. The other show we would do on site at different breweries, and we would rotate around to different breweries. Our home originally was slated to be Podcast Detroit out in Royal Oak, which is where we first began under
for a lot of podcasts.
Better on Draft, who gave us our start. I mean, had it not been for Better on Draft.
Shout out to Ken Konashevsky.
Hey, shout out to Better on Draft. Without them,
there would be no
great
Brewz
people.
Brothaz.
Talk about diversity. I mean, they are.
We still had our Facebook group, but there would be no Brewz Brothaz podcast without Ken inviting us out.
Big fan.
And we got calls, and Ken was like, "Man, people are like, y'all should do this shit by yourself." And like, man, get out of here. We don't want to do that. I mean, and look, and quite honestly, if we had Ken doing our Brewz Brothaz as a day job and really promoting us, he's been fantastic. But back to the story. We're supposed to be out in Royal Oak. Dave said, "You know what? I can't accommodate your days on Royal Oak. I'm trying to build up my new spot down in Detroit, down at the shipping container. And we got a podcast booth out there. Why don't you guys take that?" And we was, okay, Dave, we'll do that. And we went through, and
it was a dope spot too. It was a little
cramped. And even when we did our remote spots, it was Dave's crew,
right?
An engineer that would come out and do our remote. So everything was running through podcast, and we were on his platform and what have you. It got to the point, though, he found somebody that wanted to come in on a
container radio
more regular basis than we did.
So you guys talking about?
We were like, okay, well, Dave, we don't want to switch our days because we started to build this format, and we're not going to switch. He was like, well, I got more people, they want to pay me more. And we were like, no, we're not going to do it. And anyway, back and forth. And finally, Dave said I was irate.
Via email.
And he felt threatened.
Via email.
Yeah, he was threatened. You almost spit that because
via email.
Yeah.
Did you send him a picture of you putting your dukes up?
None of that.
I've got a pretty big mouth, but I mean, I totally missed on that one.
Dave, I sent him my emails from my corporate side.
Did you send fist emojis?
Oh no.
I was, for those, I've been on the corporate side. I've been a corporate VP.
Oh, you're a real human being. No way.
Yeah, all of that. So
exactly.
I didn't send my fighting emojis. I didn't say I whoop your ass, which, none of that. And it was just legitimate. Hey, so it was very corporate, and those were the responses to him. But as a result of my threatening manners to him, and he felt that, he tried to ban me from the shipping container. He tried to, say, and so go back and look up Brewz Brothaz. On that day, we were supposed to have Travis, Fritz on. He was coming down to the shipping container.
Where's Sasha? Because she need to be here. Because that night was classic.
That night was classic. That was a classic night. So that night we were kicked out of the shipping container, had nowhere to podcast, and so we went to my house.
We ended up at Wayne's palatial estate.
Casa de Wayne.
That's exactly right.
And
Chateau de Wayne.
At my house,
Because we're friends.
Travis got loose. We started. We pulled out the
I've
Cavalon.
heard about this.
Yeah.
I've heard tales. About this day that it sparked. Now we're doing this annually.
Oh yeah, skip day.
Yeah. So it's a form of skip day, and
that night, and that was what sparked the. I don't know about you, but it gave me a different attitude because I was at that point. I was on some fuck you because now and not that I ever felt like I needed to bite my tongue, but now we have zero allegiances to anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm never one. If you put me in a situation where I need to walk on eggshells, you might as well go on and get rid of me.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
I tell you what, though, in that Our Magazine article, you did a good job. I was in that conversation with you. It was
thank you.
Ryan Hooper, myself, you crushed it. It's great.
I think my favorite part of that story is that you guys are like, we're doing this shit. Like, we gathered.
Yep.
Have a show.
Yep.
And we're not stopping because
we don't need a physical location.
Yeah.
We're doing the show.
We're doing the show. And from
we are the show.
We took that physical location.
Oh, here comes Sasha. Sasha, hurry up.
Yeah, I want to hear that way.
To how we were
very impatient.
Even kind of because I was like, and I called here. I said, Harry, let me send you this email thread.
Yeah.
And I said, am I tripping?
Because maybe I'm tripping.
I said, maybe. And I was like, maybe it's me.
It's like the 8th time you just said, wait, maybe I'm tripping. We come back to that every time, I swear.
Maybe it's me.
That's why I said.
Where did I threaten him at? Where have I been menacing? And
oh, he knows what you look like. Though,
you know,
right?
when I got booted out of Podcast Detroit.
If you remember that night.
We heard you had the tea.
We had Travis in the backyard.
When I got booted out of Podcast.
Hey, she has it. How did that night go for you, Sasha?
You know what's
I don't
I can see it. I can see it.
Is it a little fuzzy for you?
Oh my God.
So good.
What specifically are we asking about?
All of it.
Was it like me turning into Thor on Death Day 1 level or worse than that? Where?
No, okay.
Wait, can we be clear that David's never turned into Thor? David's never turned into Thor. That's never happened.
But Death Day 1, I decided to go home and drink a whole bottle of Death.
No, not you.
And put on my Halloween costume. So I'm trying to figure out, like, were you at that level?
It was
Or
beyond
it, like,
that.
beyond that
No,
level?
I think we're in the ether.
Had there been a Thor costume on site, or maybe a Wonder Woman costume.
She'd beat its
Had
ass.
there been a Wonder Woman costume,
It would have been Iron Man. I'm an Iron Man fan. I
had
like
there
Iron
been
Man.
an Iron Man costume, she would have put it on.
See, you and
Well,
Melissa would definitely get
All right,
one.
we're getting stuck in the weeds. I want to hear the story.
Oh, what?
Your
What story? I just got back.
No.
Oh, fill her in. I'm
So,
very curious.
When I was booted out of
we got kicked out
Podcast
of Brew
Detroit.
Detroit. Now we're podcasting
cool. Ooh.
in Wayne's backyard.
Yeah, that was a day.
And
We
then
want the tea.
the after party.
Oh.
That's the day we're talking about.
Okay. I'm gonna try to remember.
And Travis.
You can paraphrase.
Sasha might have some gaps in her memory of that
What do you want me to say about Travis?
Just,
No, we want to.
Tonight, dude,
We don't know the story.
What do you remember from
we
the
don't.
night?
So much shit. Okay.
All of it.
Well, there was so much shit. There was a lot of shit to drink. Wayne is very generous.
There was a lot, and
We
know that. If I can butt in real quick, just
Yeah.
before I,
We can omit the volume of drinking because it's assumed.
you guys know Travis, and so once Travis gets to talking
Yes.
about making beer, and
True.
he starts talking about all this technical shit, he's in a zone.
Yeah.
So he's just like,
He's rapping
so
that shit.
when he does that, and then you start
Going to the
giving him
K-hole.
drinks, oh shit! Now he's really just
So
like,
omitting-
he's like seeing stars
Yes.
and
Okay.
But that aside,
equations
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit.
we don't know what you saw.
From of Travis? Or what are we talking
I can't keep explaining what we need. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty sure.
Sasha, what was your
I need to know what the parameters
what
are.
was your whiskey consumption like that evening?
Excellent. Good start.
Okay,
Medium, heavy,
heavy.
ridiculous.
Heavy. And whatever I said I wanted to try or had not yet tried, Wayne magically had.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's one of
He
those.
was
It was an ask and you shall receive evening.
And
Excellent.
bring
Those
whatever
are fun.
it was.
You mean
Yeah.
this? Hold
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. I mean,
like
even
Harry
if-
What do you
Potter
need?
type.
What do you need? What do you
This one
need?
is- what are
Even
talking
if it was some, I think I said I had never tried Johnny Walker Blue, maybe.
about? Oh, yeah.
And he gave me this face that was like, that's all?
That?
The
Right.
fuck
That's
you
all you
talking-
need?
You know, and I was like, well, I'm just saying. I never
Do you
had
want last year's bottle? Or you
Yeah,
want how far
basically
back do
a
you
call
want?
over here. I mean,
Right.
How far back do you want?
And then there was
We end up with Cavalon expressions.
yeah, but
we got
I still feel
I
like
couldn't
different
think of
Booker's
Cavalon.
expressions.
the
It's
amount of
just-
alcohol is not the question, though. There's
Exactly.
we want to need the meat to the story.
What? I don't.
I mean, the other thing that happened too is
I don't know. I'm being told.
I have
curious.
been supposedly banned from shipping container.
So thank you.
And
Okay, the business part. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. The business part of Wayne getting kicked out. That's what I was trying to say.
You know, so we had Travis on, and Travis, you know, we wanted to talk about what he was doing.
Travis is like, man, fuck Dave.
Hey,
Travis was with us.
As an
100%.
aside, rest in peace, Dave. I don't
Rest
mean
in
to
peace,
speak ill of
Dave. Not.
But yeah, Travis like, man, fuck Dave. He sounds like a bitch because that's it. That's exactly what it was. Like he was like,
it was.
And I forgive. I gotta apologize for not remembering this young lady's name because she was always super cool with us. The engineer that he was saying.
Ellen.
And he tried to blame it on her. Like Ellen doesn't want to deal with you guys anymore. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Ellen was fine. We
she was
treated Ellen
cool
like
shit.
royalty. She was fan.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, Ellen, what you want to drink? She'd be like, oh, no, I'm fine. Ellen got 5 beers lined up right in front of her and a plate of food. And, look, and we like, we got your gas money, too.
I don't want to get small guy angry, but again.
No, and what
happened to Wayne? I need to know.
I mean, so with Ellen, he tried to blame it on Ellen. And you know, when we moved out to doing different locations, he tried to first say that it was too far out. We was like, no, Dave.
We got this.
We said everything in the beginning on what we wanted to do. And we told you we were going out at the very first, we were going out to Old Nation. Because shout out to Old Nation. Because
Marshall, props.
Without Old Nation, it was truly Old Nation and Ken who got Brewz Brothaz podcast started.
Literally.
Without either of those two, there would be no Brewz Brothaz podcast.
I would die for M43.
So, you know, but, and they did it to where we never had, they never want, like you, Dave, Travis never wanted us to mention that we had to kind of screen M43 or just say it wasn't about promoting his brand.
Yeah.
It was about being a voice in the community, and that was needed.
As a matter of fact, the show that put us on, we were on Better on Draft. We said that strawberry M43 was some bullshit.
You said it tastes like Tussin.
Man, this shit tastes like Robitussin. Get this shit from in front of me, man.
Oh my God, I feel so much better right now. It does taste like Robitussin.
And look, and that's why we thought we were being pranked.
Right.
When Ken gave the call.
This guy's about to go off on
me. And look, when Ken gave us the call and said, hey, man, I got some people want to meet with you guys. We were like, who? He was like, Old Nation, man, get the fuck out of here. Old Nation don't want to. We were just dogging that shit.
Hey, if you go back to the tape, we all tasted like simultaneously. We just kind of look at each other and we're like, yeah, dog, this ain't it. This ain't it. Bullshit.
And we was going around and got me. I was like, man, this shit's some Robitussin.
How long of a segment was it where you guys were just like, no? Like,
we went in.
Yeah,
we went in. It wasn't just no.
We had already been drinking, so
and that's like, hey, Tip the Captain Travis and the Earth is like, I'm gonna go.
And Travis was like, man, we appreciate you guys' honesty, and and you got a voice that needs to be heard. And they were like, again, shout out to Kim. He was like, man, that's the best Bet on Draft show episode that they ever had.
I don't want to interrupt, but I think something important happened right there. And I'm really bad at this too. When somebody says, I don't like what you did, I say, I pull out the trash, I hit him in the face with it.
Yeah.
But the ability to take that constructively and to use it is it's a skill to me because it's not. Yeah.
Well, I think they made a better.
They improved it after that.
They made a better product following
because
that.
They saw the big picture. I would have seen the small picture and have been fucking blackout right there. But then I had shit beer. You know what I'm saying? So no, but
that's Tussin.
That's Tussin.
Harry, you said it earlier.
It's true.
You were like, you can be the example of the right way to do something, and you can be the example of the wrong way to do something.
Absolutely.
It's not on the level of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But as far as your product goes,
you
same
theory.
I mean, those guys, they don't know what they're talking about. Instead, he was like, I'm going to go talk to them.
Right, let me go talk to him.
I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on record that I went and talked to him about all this stuff.
And that's actually how that night happened, because during this time frame, too, was about the time we had just put Founders on blast.
Yep.
And we're like, and so that's why, again, and I did, but fuck them. but fuck them. Fuck them, because we did say we put them on blast. And we say fuck them again.
Well, I wasn't judging. Say fuck them all night.
Fuck them all night long. Fuck them. But you know, but that's why I did ask here. I was like, again, am I tripping?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dave put me out. Read this email thread. He was like, man, fuck him and all that.
That's exactly what I said because I read the email and I was like, there is literally nothing threatening in this email. There's a disagreement. Yes, I disagree with your.
Oh, there was something threatening in the email. Did you see his face? He's black.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Did you know that?
There's
That's
no
what it
curse. You know what? There's no curse words. There's not a fucking exclamation point in the email.
No.
Church words.
Yeah,
They were.
So, but it's threatening, and now we need a restraining order. Yeah. So Wayne is like, I can't go over there.
That
But
was
y'all,
a
restraining order on
I
you?
said, man, fuck that. If you can't go.
From
We can't
Podcast
go.
Detroit.
I'm on the way to Detroit, and
Right.
you messaged me like, so
I'm like, yo, reroute. We're going to Wayne's house.
Where does Wayne live? That might be my first time coming
That
out.
was your first
And
time.
I'm
Of
like,
all the
what's happening?
people,
What we
of all the
doing?
people that I know
All
that
right.
don't have restraining orders, I don't understand what Wayne has lost.
Yeah,
I had
man.
to restrain, man. He, and it was.
Dude.
I mean, and he tried to ban me from the whole establishment.
From the whole joint.
and
Oh,
it's so
have you
funny.
gone
Podcast
back?
spot.
You have that power.
He can't go get no
No,
jerk chicken
I'm
wings.
just curious.
He can't
Have
go.
you-
Man.
You know what I'm saying? He can't go to the
I've
sandwich
told that
shop.
story.
But if they're supporting
Thai
that shit,
place.
fuck them anyway.
I've told that story to
Fuck.
John, one of the owners behind
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
the shipping container.
Yeah.
I've told that story to Max, who makes the chicken wings.
Yeah.
And they both laugh and giggle and be like, man, you better come get on my shit. And it's just amazing. But all that ties into the whole conversation tonight is that these are the things that as we fight through this craft beer industry and the things we want to make better is to say, hey, we can remove all of this stuff and just look at people as people.
Yeah.
Don't look at them as white. Don't look at them as black. Don't look at them as anything other than people. And if we can ever get to that point, that's what Brewz Brothaz is about. That's why when you look at our beer Facebook group, everybody who comes on, who's lucky enough to be invited in, because it's an invite only, but everybody who comes in, besides the two that we booted out,
Fuck them. Thank you.
have always said this is the best beer group
Yeah.
holistically in terms of just, hey, nobody's beating up on each other. We're having a good time. We joke around. We laugh. Post good shit. Post bad shit. But
And we've got a couple of individuals who even in other beer groups are complete and total dicks.
I remember you said that in the hour interview.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm not about to name
Black.
names.
We're not gonna name them.
Black.
You know,
We're not gonna name them.
But we got some.
We
people-
got some.
We got some people
We
that,
got
that
some.
in other spaces in
They
social
act
media,
up.
complete and
Interesting.
total dicks.
That's
I'm in
Oh,
so
yeah.
many beer
People
groups
I
that just
know.
fucking.
we
But
got
they
them.
respect our space.
They know
respect
better.
They
Yeah.
respect the Brewz Brothers space.
Yeah, they respect the
And they
space.
post cheers.
Right.
They don't, whereas another group, they'd be in a whole another little world. And,
Uh-huh.
3 stars. Fuck you.
yeah, all
Top
that.
face was weak. Malt was off.
But in but in Brewz Brothers, it's just a cheers.
It's just
And and it's not a lot.
and they keep it moving.
But I mean, I think that's my
That's
favorite
it.
thing about, and again, I'm on the outside. My favorite thing about you guys is that's what it's actually about. Y'all are black, and
Yeah.
we are not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
No. Zach, I got to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Because yes, we are black, but Brewz Brothers is not just about being black. And so I got to correct you with that, because what makes Brewz Brothers is that we've got Juho. We've got Donkers. We've got Dave Seacott. We've got everybody. Everybody's not black, but we're
Man,
all
don't forget
Brewz Brothers.
the birthday boy, man, Daniel Hunt.
I've heard a lot of stories about it.
You can't.
No, but I
avoid
appreciate
it.
that.
I'm
I do.
not
Literally
trying,
his
No.
to omit or
got
leave
Jimmy.
anybody out. But the point
Jimmy.
was that although Brewz Brothers started as a collective space for small home brewers that were black, it's the true collection of, and enjoy craft beer. It's expanded so much beyond that to where to classify us as a black beer group
No, I was talking about the three
would
of you
be
that are sitting
okay. Okay.
Oh, what?
All right.
In that case,
in that
in that
case,
case, you're right. We're black.
Forgive me then. All right. I'll get out my soapbox.
But no,
Don't call us a
Thank
black
you,
beer
honey.
group.
Thank
You know what I'm saying?
no, and look,
All right.
no, hold on.
Yeah. You
Because
know
the
what I'm
first
saying?
time, no, the first time I met Harry was
Yeah.
during an hour Detroit magazine interview that I did with Ryan Hooper.
Yep.
And
Yeah, you didn't call me.
that was
Or me.
no. That's
It's
how,
like we wasn't first.
No,
We
Harry
think
was
about
like,
this shit, man.
Harry
you
was
know.
like, don't call anybody else.
I'm all you need.
Don't call Sasha.
That is- watch
Don't
it.
call
Look,
fucking.
Yeah.
Now, Harry told me, he was like, hey, man, so-and-so going to be calling you. And I gave you numbers. I was like, yeah. Oh, hey, this motherfucker never called me, man. What's up? You just turned the interview out and he ain't need no more, huh? But there wasn't no other opinions.
He called me.
But to your
look, Sasha. But I was getting there because then I saw a quote by Sasha. I was like, ain't this a bitch? I'm like, okay, that's all right. I'm out drink these motherfuckers next time.
But back to your point, I said that same thing to Harry, and that's what he said to me, that it's not, and I wasn't trying to be short-sighted, but sometimes when you think in very narrow terms.
Ginger?
I'm not a ginger. Brown hair! Brown fucking hair!
Hey, Dave. What was this? Did you see the shit? You are.
Beards count.
It was the move. It was the bold move.
Oh, we
going to hell. You going to hell.
Madonna.
And to be clear, there are spaces for that. There are some groups that are for black beer drinkers.
We're in a couple,
but that's not our space. Our space is for everybody.
Because beer is for everybody.
Everybody who's for everybody.
That's it.
So, anybody that don't fit that very brief description can get the fuck
Oh, no, we gonna roast.
Exactly.
I like you come on there and be like, this Charlotte Street beer is the best shit ever. Oh, yeah. Let's go get it.
You fucking gas station.
See, but you know what's crazy? And this is really what kind of illustrates the polarization of craft beer. So when that founder shit was going down, and I made it a habit, I made a very intentional habit of not commenting about it a whole lot in the bigger groups, because I know those motherfuckers don't care by and large. But the few times that I did, you get people commenting, standing in front of cases of founders like, I'm still drinking the shit anyway, blah, 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 blah. That eye roll you just did, yeah, that was me. I'm like, man, look at these motherfuckers here. And I can't invest my energy in that. Yeah. And so those are
not worth it.
It's not worth it, especially when I have a community where we welcome people and where we are sensitive to that and where we understand why that's fucked up.
The energy it takes to combat that is tiring.
It's tiring. Yeah.
When we talked about Ruby Bridges, and when we talk about, just going through, we're not that far off from slavery in of itself. To go through and to fight and be combative all the time, just to stand up for what will regularly be given to anybody else is tiring.
You have to fight to live.
It's a delicate balance because on one hand it's tiring, but on the other hand, if I don't do it, who the fuck is going to do it?
Yeah.
I was on a bourbon page last week, and one of the guys on the page is an avid rum drinker as well. So he's like, you know what? I got permission from the admins. I'm gonna do a rum week, and so he posted this long dissertation about rum and its production and
sugar and the places it was grown.
And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember his wording. Something to the effect of, producers made X amount of rum, over this time. And I said, well, let's be clear. By producers, we mean enslaved Africans, and to be clear,
right,
enslaved individuals in any of these places that
you name
farmed sugarcane.
Right.
And I posted another article, but you know what they did? What the cat who posted the original
blocked
article
took it
down? He didn't. He said thank you. He said, you
Really?
know what? I appreciate that perspective. I wasn't trying to leave that out, so I hope you weren't offended by it. So
That's all right.
Thank you for that perspective. And I was like, I wasn't offended. I just wanted to make sure that was understood. Mm-hmm. And he was like, bourbon has a checkered history in America. I said, every fucking thing's got a checkered history in America.
No, America's checkered.
America's checkered like a motherfucker.
We're a terrible place.
So
horrible people.
But that's how you handle that.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. We moved the fuck on with Rum Week. I learned some new shit about rum, but that was that.
Listen, it's easy. It should not. It is.
It's not easy.
It
though.
should
be easy.
It should be easy to be able to approach a situation like that and recognize and be like, I can either be a dickhead or I can learn something and be like, you know what? As a matter of fact, that article you just posted, I'm going to take the time to read that, educate myself, and be like, yes, okay, that is a part of the history that I thought I knew.
Right.
And now I know that I need to adapt my knowledge
on
on
an important
this
part.
beverage that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you took the time to want to do a rum week. Now you know even more about rum because somebody decided to be like, you know what? This is a teaching moment.
I mean,
because if I didn't do it, who the fuck was going to do it? Right?
And with history, we got to keep history present. And that's why we always give Sasha credit for having a beer named after her. Yeah. You know, with Sasha the Beer Girl, because historically, she's got a beer. Yep. She's immortalized. Harry and I are still looking for that first beer.
I don't have shit.
We're still, you know.
I'm not immortalized in that way.
We're not immortalized yet. You know, so we just.
My legacy is not etched in stone yet.
Come on now. I don't even have.
At least on the can.
From Detroit Distillery.
Hey, Dave, how far over the 30 minutes are we?
So listen, we are
about to break 2 hours.
Oh my God!
Wow. We did turn this into a Brewz Brothaz episode.
We anticipated this.
We
were ready.
Not only did we do that, but we didn't take a break after hour 1.
Right.
I mean, I did pee.
2 straight hours.
Oh my God.
We're at 1 hour 57 minutes.
Man, y'all are some fucking maniacs,
So
man.
listen.
Hey, man.
Yeah, we're going to cut it now.
Yeah. Coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Seriously, thank you guys.
It's an important conversation. I don't want that to get lost. I know how much fun this. Was, but
we don't have to be here just in February. By the way, too. Just want to make sure you know.
Bring us back in March if you want.
Why don't you bring him in January?
Sign us out, Zach.
And look, one other thing before we leave. I'm going to have to poke shit with you, Dave, because he's drinking out of glass.
Oh, he's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
And this fool toasted me with his glass when I walked up.
We know here drinkers don't deserve a glass. You guys don't deserve a glass. You know what I'm saying? You know, hey,
I tried to run this. I thought about you so many times. I was like, it's not going to be the same.
And you held up your glass like that. I'm like, well,
he gets a glass. We get classy.
Cheers.
You know.
We don't have this.
I am.
Right.
Well, so how do
I
we?
said
How
it
do
to
we?
Zach earlier before we started. I was like, I'm really like.
He did say it. He was fucking.
So did you bring that from home? Or like, how do we get one of
It's
these?
up front, but I was like, I want to drink Del Rey out of a glass.
Out of a glass.
And
I showed
And you
up
were like,
to
fuck
give
all the rest of
you.
it.
Fuck you. That's not good
Tell him,
enough.
Sasha. Get him, Sasha.
I didn't say that. I also didn't do it. I didn't say it.
Sasha, we were in our first Annie's drink out of glass. Well, you know, come on, Dave.
Listen, I told them to line up glasses up front at the bar.
You lying?
What had happened was.
God bless Kevin Hart. That was one of the best stand-ups ever.
But no, anytime. Hey, Dave, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
You're the
And,
best,
you know, you family.
Appreciate
Anytime, we're more than welcome to come back. We're excited that next up, you got Annette May coming in.
Yeah, that's dope.
In March.
For the ladies.
And you got Barb.
Hollywood
coming in.
Yeah,
shout
shout
out
to
to April.
Yeah,
Dave,
that's tall Sasha.
she's also known as Tall Sasha.
Yeah, she's
No.
fat.
So
Wait, does that mean?
No, baby, don't even know.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
That's regular Sasha.
Zach, we've never seen them in the same place.
Oh, so they're
Or,
the same Sasha.
so
We
it's the
literally
same
have pictures together, like we
You
were
know.
at.
Photoshop. Nobody care about
So,
that.
for
You
those-
know,
No, y'all
For
haven't
those
been there.
that don't know, Sasha is like a computer expert. It would be nothing for her to fucking Photoshop a picture. So don't believe that
Are we
photograph
talking
shit.
about what I do in my regular life?
I just
So-
said you were a computer expert. I didn't tell nobody you were a hacker.
So
Shit, did I do?
we can't wait to tune in to hear your next two guests
My
because
bad.
again, Annette and Sasha both are family.
Yeah.
And
Tall
we've
Sasha.
also got great stories with them as well. And you know, you got a great list of people coming on to participate in your show. And anytime you need or want us back,
Anytime, man.
you know, just don't put us last at the end of the list and be like, damn, I ain't got nobody else. Let me call Brewz Brothaz.
Fuck, hey, we're out of guests.
You know
Hey,
what
you
I'm
got
saying?
Harry's number?
Right.
Definitely not last.
Right.
Oh, wait, go in.
Hey,
Those guys will drink beer anytime. Just give
You
them a
know.
call.
But no, that's our job already. So
Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Del Rey Barbecue.
Yeah,
dude.
good shit, man. Shout out to Del Rey.
Unbelievable food.
Uh,
Unbelievable.
And we'll talk soon, guys. Thanks for listening
Appreciate
to the Brew
you,
Detroit podcast. Stay tuned for
the
episode,
culture.
episode number
Brewz
3.
Brothaz for the culture.
Fuck you.
Yes, sir. Cheers, man.
I mean,
Right. Hey, my cup won't make no noise, though. Cheers.